Hi, welcome to Learning Tidbits. Today we're going to look at commonly confused words that you will use correctly after today's lesson. Let's get started. We want to test your knowledge with a quiz. Who doesn't love a quiz, right? Now, let's look at these sentences and select the word that we think would be the best used word. Let's look at the first sentence. He sat it on the table, or he set it on the table. Number 2, it needs to sit in the sun to dry, or it needs to set in the sun to dry. Number 3, raise your end of the board, please. Or is it rise your end of the board, please? Number 4, I need to lay down on the sofa. Or I need to lie on the sofa. Next, she had lied down for a nap after lunch, or she had lain down for a nap after lunch, or she had laid down for a nap after lunch. Now, I would rather eat broccoli than listen to the negative news. I would rather eat broccoli than listen to the negative news. His recent education farthered his career, or his recent education furthered his career. The last sentence. We need to travel a bit farther before nightfall, or we need to travel a bit further before nightfall. All right, a few more sentences, guys. Come on, let's see how we can do. He drives to the gym to work out. You have 2 twos there, so choose carefully. The next sentence, I am too tired to run this evening. The next one, you're my best friend. Your mom called today. They're coming over today. Their moms are having a meeting. You're not quite finished yet. You're not quite finished yet. You're not quite finished yet. Which one? The next sentence, please be quiet. Please be quiet. Please be quit. The next sentence, chaos reigned the field after the tense game. And the last sentence, I separate my laundry into separate sized loads. Tricky there, guys. So, I hope you guys all have chosen your answers. Let's see how we did. Here are the answers to the first set of sentences. He set it on the table. It needs to sit in the sun to dry. Raise your end of the board, please. I need to lie on the sofa. She had lain down for a nap after lunch. I would rather eat broccoli than listen to the negative news. His recent education furthered his career. We need to travel a bit farther before nightfall. Now, the second set, let's see how you did on these. He drives to, T-O, to the gym. To, T-O, work out. He drives to the gym to work out. I am too, T-O-O, I am too tired to run this evening. Guys, pay attention to the spelling on these, okay? Because many of these sound exactly the same, regardless of the spelling or use. You're my best friend. You are my best friend. Your mom called today. They're coming over today. They are coming over today. Their moms are having a meeting. You're not quite finished. As if you are almost finished. Please be quiet. Chaos reigned the field. It ruled the field after the tense game. I separate my laundry into separate sized loads. Notice this, guys. It's the identical spelling. S-E-P-A-R-A-T-E. the A. If you spell it with an E for separate or separate, that is incorrect. So please try to correct that right now. From now on, always put the A for separate or separate. It's the same spelling in both words. Now, let's look further into why we choose these words. Let's look at sit and set. S-I-T, sit, means to seat oneself, or to remain or rest in an unchanging position. S-E-T, set, means to place something, to put something in a particular place. Let's look at some sentences to help us better understand the use of these words. S-I-T, sit. I sit in my favorite chair to study. The chicken will sit in the marinade. Set, S-E-T. Bobby set the magazine on the table. The story was set in the country. Rise, R-I-S-E. Rise. To get up, to change oneself from a lower position. Rise is the opposite of sit. You can sit down or rise up. Raise, R-A-I-S-E, means to move something not yourself, or not your whole body. Raise means to increase. It's also the opposite of set. You can set something down or you can raise it up. Let's look at some sentences. Rise. The sun rises in the east. I rise from bed at 6:00 a.m. Raise. Let's raise our glasses to toast this achievement. Running may raise your blood pressure. Let's look at these two fun words, lie and lay. Lie, L-I-E, means to place oneself in a flat resting position when you lie down at night to sleep. Or it means an untruth, a lie, when you say something not true. It is a verb to tell an untruth, or the untruth itself is a lie, a noun. Now let's look at lay, L-A-Y. L-A-Y, lay, means to place something, to set it down. Set and lay mean very much the same thing. It is also L-A-Y, as in lay, the past tense of the verb lie that we just talked about. To place oneself in a flat resting position, the past tense of that word is lay. I know, it can be so confusing. But hang around until the end of the video and we have a very helpful chart that shows us the different uses of these words. It makes it very simple. Let's look at some examples of sentences in the present tense of these words. I lie down when I am tired. Please lie down when you do not feel well. Notice often, not always, but often, you will have the word down with lie. Lie down, because you lie down to rest. You put your body down in a flat position to rest. Now, lay, L-A-Y. Lay the blanket over the chair, please. It means to place the blanket over the chair. Lay your head on my shoulder. Now, don't let this trick you guys. This is part of your body, but it's not your entire body. You're just placing part of your body over on someone's shoulder. You're not putting your entire body down flat to rest, if that helps you to think of it that way. Let's look at than and then. These are so commonly confused. Than, T-H-A-N, is used to compare, contrast, separate, or distinguish two different things or one thing from many others. T-H-E-N, then, refers to time. Some examples. T-H-A-N, than. Rather than driving across town to get groceries, I'll shop here. Other than oranges, he eats no fruit. Notice we're comparing two different situations in that first sentence, driving across town or getting groceries in the present location. And in the second sentence, we're saying there's this whole group of fruit, but he only eats oranges and nothing else from that category. So we're distinguishing it. We're separating it from the group of all the rest of the fruit. Now, THEN, then. She will first finish her homework, then she may go to the park. It is a point in time, okay? It refers to when she may go. If it helps you to remember, when talks about time, also then, when and then. They rhyme and almost have the same spelling, just one letter's difference, the T and the W, then, when. So maybe that will help you guys, because often people use rather than, but that is not correct. It is rather than, and then is always referring to time. The last sentence in the example, he entered the room and then sat down. Now, farther and further. Oh my goodness, these trip up so many folks. Farther, F-A-R-T-H-E-R, far. It is talking about far, farther. It's a distance that you can measure on a road or anywhere. On a ruler, you can measure whether it's a short distance or a long distance. You can talk about a distance being farther than a different distance, a previous distance. For example, 3 inches is farther down the ruler than 1 inch. Okay, 30 kilometers is farther than 10 kilometers. Now, let's talk about further, F-U-R-T-H-E-R. This is used figuratively. It is used when you are talking about going beyond the achievement of a goal. Some examples. With farther, Bob ran farther than Jack. So if you imagine you put a white marker where Jack ran to, and then you put a green marker where Bob ran to, the green marker would be farther. It is, if you can think of a more far distance, if that helps you, far, farther, that's always talking about distance. Yesterday I ran far. Yesterday I ran far. Today I ran farther. Now let's look at further, F-U-R-T-H-E-R. The company has come further than we ever imagined it would. His education took him further than his initial goals. Now let's look at 2 and 2. Oh my goodness. I have friends text me, message me, and misuse these all the time. Professionals with a lot of education and several degrees, they still misuse these words. TO2. This is used to express motion in a direction, movement in a direction. It talks about approaching a certain location, a place, reaching something. It can even be a figurative something like reaching a goal, but it is toward something. T-O, to, toward, okay? Maybe that will help you remember that one. Now, it's also used with the base form of any verb you can think of to make the infinitive, to read, to see, to hear, to walk, to run. I love to run. That's putting to with the base form of the verb to give you the infinitive. Now, let's look at TOO. This one means also, and it can also mean a condition of excess. I sometimes drink too much coffee. Let's look at some examples. TO. Let's go to the park. We're going toward the park. We are going to a destination. We want to win. This is that infinitive, guys. It is the TO with the base form of a verb, win. We want to do something. We want to win. Now, T-O-O. We went to the park, the T-O. Jenny's family came too. Jenny's family came also. Look at that second sentence, guys. Don't eat too much chocolate. Is that good advice or what? Let's look at your and your. This one again is just like the TO and TOO. I have so many professional friends who misuse these, so please pay attention. YOUR means possession or ownership. It means something related to or belonging to. Now, you are has a contraction, YOU apostrophe RE. It simply still means you are. It doesn't change the meaning. Some examples of YOUR: eat your vegetables. They belong to you. You eat them. Are we using your ball and bat? They're your ball and bat. They belong to you. Now, YOU apostrophe RE. Your or you are. Did your dad say you're not coming Saturday? Notice in this sentence, guys, you have two different yours. They sound the same, but they are spelled differently and they definitely mean something different. Your dad is related to you, belongs to you. This is your dad. However, when it comes to the YOU apostrophe RE, did your dad say you're not coming Saturday? You can always check yourself by asking if this makes sense to put you are in place of your. Did your dad say you are not coming Saturday? It makes sense. So you would use the YOU apostrophe RE. The last example, I'm glad you're coming back for the playoffs. Let's check it with our little test here. I'm glad you are coming back for the playoffs. That makes sense. So yes, we use the YOU apostrophe RE. Good job. Now let's talk about 3 words that, my. I chose these purposely because I have so many friends who are very intelligent and very educated, very accomplished, who, again, still misuse these. It's just a very common mistake that we have in our English language, in the American English, and I wish we could correct it. Now, the THER, there, the THEY apostrophe RE, there, and THEIR, there. They all sound the same, just like your and to. However, they all mean something different, and they're all spelled differently. See, I just used one of them, there. Which one did I use? It would be the second one, but we'll get to that in a moment. Let's look at the first one, THERE. This one means a place or a location. I want to go there. Now, let's look at the second one that I did just use, THEY apostrophe RE. This is a contraction. When you see that apostrophe, it's either going to be a contraction or a possessive, and we'll go over some possessives in a different lesson. But today, let's look at the contraction. It is where we have shortened 2 words into 1 word using the apostrophe, but the words still mean the same thing as if they were still separate, 2 separate words. They are, or they were. Okay, that is what there means. They are, or it can mean they were. The last one, THEIR, this one is a possessive, just like your, YOUR. Okay, this means belonging to them. Some examples, THERE, I want to go there. Everyone says that it's so much fun. And I'm sure we've all heard this one, are we there yet? And the next one, THEY apostrophe RE, they are. Remember, that still means they are or they were. They're our biggest rivals. They're coming to play against us for our homecoming game. THEIR, their coach meaning the coach of them, the coach that belongs to them, to their team, he coaches them. Their coach is our old coach. And look at this next sentence, guys. I gave you guys some doozies. We have several uses here. They're going, meaning they are going to get their butts kicked when we play them there, at that location, at that place, on their home field. Their home field belonging to them. Soak that in, guys. Feel free to pause and go back and read it for yourself if you need to. Let's look at these three words. Now, these three words do not sound the same as we have just seen with to and your and their. These all sound differently, and they are all three different words meaning something completely different from one another, but people still get them very confused. So let's look at the very first one, quite. Quite. Q-U-I-T-E. This one is a qualifier. It shows a degree of something. I am quite tired. It means I am very tired. If you could think of replacing the word quite with very or almost, if it still makes sense, then you probably need to choose this one, quite, Q-U-I-T-E. Let's look at the second one, quiet, quiet. See, notice the difference in the sound. Quiet means little to no noise. We want quiet when we sleep. Now, quit. Quit. Q-U-I-T with nothing after the T at the end. So it is a short I sound. I. Quit. This means to stop, to cease doing something. Some examples of quite. Q-U-I-T-E. I am not quite finished with my homework. Okay, I did tell you that you can try to put almost or very in its place and see if that helps you to understand. Those don't really work here, but you can sort of think of this. I'm not quite finished with my homework, meaning I am almost finished. So though you can't just place the word almost in place of the word quite, if you use almost to help you understand the sentence, it does make sense. It does still help you to understand it. If you can kind of add to the sentence, answer a question about the sentence. I'm not quite finished with my homework. Am I almost finished? Yes, I am almost finished, but not quite. All right, the next one. Now that I've gotten you good and confused. We didn't quite score well enough to make it into the top 5 in the region. That means we almost scored high enough, but we didn't quite score well enough. Now let's look at quiet. Quiet. Please be quiet. We've all heard that. We've probably all been told that or said that to someone else. Our neighbors are quiet. We hardly ever hear them. And the last one, quit. Please don't quit practicing near the end of the season. Don't quit. Please quit complaining about warm-up drills. That means please don't quit. Please don't stop practicing, but please quit complaining. Please stop complaining. Let's look at these three. These three all sound the same. Rain, rain, rain. Rain, rain, go away. All right. R-A-I-N means rain, just like the song, Rain, Rain, Go Away. This is precipitation, the wet weather that we love to go out and stomp in the mud puddles. The R-E-I-N means a controlling power, something that has to limit or stop or control. And I want you to notice that this word, whether it is a verb or a noun, it means something that stops, controls, limits. It is something of a controlling power. As a noun, it originally means part of a bridle that's fastened to the bit in a horse's mouth, and a horseman pulls back on the reins, which causes pressure inside the horse's mouth with the bit, and it guides and controls the direction of the horse. That way you can get to where you want to go. You don't just go wherever the horse wants to go. Now, the last one, R-E-I-G-N, rain. You do not hear the G. It is a silent G. It still sounds just like the R-A-I-N or the R-E-I-N. But this one means to rule, to govern, to dictate. And in our examples, we're going to see a couple of examples I want you to pay close attention to while I explain the difference of why we use R-E-I-N or why we use the R-E-I-G-N. Let's look first at the rain with the mud puddles, R-A-I-N. We've had a lot of rain this summer. This is so true. Now, let's look at the next one. Blessings rain upon us all. The reason you use R-A-I-N here is because we're talking about something that's not truly rain, precipitation. This is metaphorical. It's not a literal rain, it's a figurative rain, but it's used as a metaphor. We want many blessings in our lives. So if you think about like when it rains, all those individual raindrops, there are lots of raindrops. When it rains, we want lots of blessings to fall upon us like rain. So we say blessings rain upon us all, or we can say I want blessings to rain upon me. I want blessings to rain upon my head. You know, people say all those different things, but they mean they want lots of blessings, like lots of raindrops. R-E-I-N. This one, the first sentence, we're using it as a verb. Rein in your imagination. That means pull it in, control it, get a tighter grip on it, have a little more control over it. The second sentence, we're using this as a noun. Notice we're still talking about rain and imagination, but we're using it as a noun. We say give free rein to your imagination, meaning give it unbridled access, meaning let those reins go, relax. If you think about the reins with a horse, you pull them back and you tighten them to have more control over the direction of the horse. Well, if you use that, if you apply it figuratively, when we're talking about rain and our imagination, you kind of loosen up that control and let your imagination have more free rein. I hope you just learned something. Now, the R-E-I-G-N with that silent G, it says rain. Chaos reigned in the social protest. Notice here, we're using reign as a verb, okay? Chaos reigned, it did something. And what we mean here is chaos ruled in the social protest. Because if you're talking about ruling as in governing, you're going to be talking about R-E-I-G-N. The second one, we're using it as a noun. Queen Elizabeth II is in her 68th year of her reign as queen over the United Kingdom. And this is true, guys. In 2020, she's in her 68th year, so that's pretty awesome. Now, let's look at that chart that I promised you guys that we would have on those lie and lay words that get us so tripped up. All right, I want you to notice the very top row where it is talking about lay, to place something or to put something. The present tense is lay. I will lay my glasses on the table. Okay, that past tense laid, L-A-I-D. Okay, he laid his keys on the table. That past participle, have, has, or had laid. He had laid his keys in the same spot for years. Now let's talk about to rest, L-I-E. Okay, I want you to notice that these forms are a little different maybe than what you use or what you expect. Present tense, lie, to rest. I lie down each day for a short nap after lunch. The past tense is lay, L-A-Y. it looks the same as the verb that we just went over. That means something completely different. However, lay is the correct spelling and use for the past tense of lie. If you're talking about lying down to rest. Yesterday, I lay down for an hour because I was so tired. Now, let's look at the past participle with have, has, or had lain. Lain. That's right, guys. L-A-I-N. Not D, but N. So be careful here because this is a very, very common misuse of the words. He had lain down for a nap when the phone rang. Notice the sentence that we have above this. Let's see if I can. Let's see. Okay, let's look at these two sentences here. All right. Now, we're going to talk about rest, okay? Something that someone has done in the past. Okay, he had lain. He had, oops, sorry, guys. He had lain down for a nap when the phone rang. All right, but let's look at another past participle, the sentence right up above it. He had laid his keys in the same spot for years. What is the difference, guys, between lain and laid? I'm not sure why that popped up. I'm sorry. But what's the difference? Okay, lain is the past participle for lying down to rest, putting your body down to rest. Laid is the past participle for putting something down in a particular place. Okay? You got it? Great. Now let's move on to lie, to tell an untruth. Okay? So if we're talking about an untruth, we're going to use lie, lied, or has, have, or had lied. That's right. It's a super easy format. Just like with lay, laid, lie, lied, lied. The only one that's going to trip you up is if you're going to take a nap or someone else is going to take a nap. You're going to lay your body down to rest. So that one, it doesn't say lie, lied, lied, just like this one is lay, laid, laid, lie, lied, lied. If a body is lying down to rest, it is lie, lay in the past tense, or lain, have lain, has lain, had lain. Okay? I hope that helps you. Now, guys, if you don't use it, you lose it, just like anything else. So why don't you head on over to the Learning Tidbits website and go ahead and test your knowledge. I dare you. I want to see how you do. Feel free to shoot me an email through the website. It goes to the same email that you can find in the description box to the video. Feel free to send me an email and let me know how you did on your post-test. It's right there on the grammar page on our website. So besides this, guys, I want you to get out and use your correct English in a conversation now. I want you to make it a practice to use these words correctly, because the more you use them correctly, the more natural that use will become for you. And no longer will it feel right to say them incorrectly or use them incorrectly when you type in a text or a message to someone. So congratulations on your improved knowledge of our English language, and I hope you enjoy putting it to good use. Until next time, happy learning!